Hello again and welcome to another Practica Tango Tips. In our last video, we broke down our Traspie into its different elements and showed how we can invite our partner to do a Traspie, particularly going backwards or to the side. I also explained that it's more difficult to invite her to come forward, but it is possible. We just need to know the specific technique to do that. That's what we'll be discussing today. And this particular technique is useful for not just learning how to Traspie, but to understand how we can encourage our partner to move in a particular direction. Helping me today is my husband, Sean Cosgrove. In most beginning classes, we rely on the connection between our partners to read the invitation of a step. Whether it's going forward, backwards, to the side, whatever it is, we're relying on this connection. And this is an important element. Specifically, I'm talking about having our weight not over our heels, but over the balls of our feet. And when both partners have this forward intention toward each other, it's easy to feel the weight shifts back and forth. So typically in a class, you'll learn to go on one foot or the other. And then you'll use this forward intention of a connection to invite your partner to take a step. And this is fine when you're a beginning dancer, but there is an element that we want to discuss that happens before the step actually takes place. Because in order to take that step, what you're actually doing is using your weight transfer, using that before you're actually getting the extension. As we talked about in our Traspie from last week, the Traspie is actually an extension, then the weight transfer, not the opposite, not weight transfer and then your extension. And once you realize or know this skill of being able to invite an extension without the weight transfer, then you'll find out that you can do all types of movements with this. And you can invite your partner quite easily to do a forward step, a side step, or back step without this weight transfer. How we do this is we will use all the information that Cameron Johnson has shared with us over the past few months about how our body actually works, specifically a contrabody movement. As we learned before, whenever we take a step, we need to start first with our spinal rotation of our lumbar, right? And that is the last bottom part of our spine, the last third of it. And we use this motion here to start bringing that leg forward. We also talked about how we soften the knee, and when we soften the knee, the hip moves as well. So we're using this combination of the spinal rotation, the softening of the knee, and the relaxing of the hip to bring our leg forward. And we can do this without any weight shift. So all of my weight here is on this leg, and I can invite my leg, well, I'm doing it myself, but I can move my leg with just the spinal rotation. So if you know that in order for you to walk in a particular direction, that you need this lumbar rotation and this softening of the knee, then you automatically know what your partner needs. So let's take the simplest scenario. All I want to do with my partner is to walk straight, parallel feet, and in line. So nothing fancy, just our basic walking. Well, if I put my arms out, and I'm using my contrabody movement, this is what you can see happening. This is what you'll see happening, right? We'll have I'm exaggerating it here, the movement of the opposite leg and the opposite shoulder. So as this leg comes forward, this shoulder comes forward. And again, I'm exaggerating so you can see it here. As this leg comes forward, this shoulder comes forward. Going backwards, it's the opposite. But again, it's whatever the leading leg, and it's the opposite shoulder. So there, if it's this leg, it is this shoulder going back. Let's say I'm dancing the woman's part, so I'll step on the side. If I want her leg to come back this way, then I know if this leg goes back, this shoulder accompanies that leg. I mean, the opposite would be, the alternative, I should say, would be maybe if this leg, this shoulder goes back to that leg. But that's not a very natural position, is it? If we're just walking backwards, you can see you actually end up turning to the side. As the man, for my contrabody to work, I need this rotation here, this rotation in the lumbar, but also this rotation here. It's a lot less. In order to keep my body going straight, I actually have to kind of send it a little bit in the opposite direction, like this. And she can feel that with her embrace. So as I start to take this step, I can prepare her body to start going in that direction. Okay? So what she will feel is when I start doing that, she'll feel that movement in the thoracic, and then that will encourage this rotation here, because that's what the body normally does. So let's say her weight is now on her right leg, and it is her left leg that needs to go back first. Well, it's the same principle. For this leg to go back, this shoulder can help tell her that direction in which to go. So again, you can do it through a slide indication in your upper body to get that lower body moving in the direction you want to go. You're not just going back and falling back onto a step. You're rotating a lumbar to get that leg out. And when our upper body is nice and relaxed, our thoracic will move ever so slightly in the opposite direction. Okay. Like again, like I said, this is very much an exaggeration that we're doing, but it can be more subtle than that as well. Okay. However, you may need more than just being subtle with your partner. And this is where learning this technique for the man can be very useful. So now let's discuss one of the difficult things that we talked about in our last video, which is inviting the woman to go forward in a Traspie, or in any step for that matter. Again, we want to make sure that our partner is dancing naturally. And it's not natural for her to want to walk into somebody. Most of the time in the dance, she's going to be walking backwards. For her to come forward is, especially in what we call in line, is kind of a big deal. Most of the time, if she's going forward, she's going to be going forward out to a partner. But in a Traspie, or in any walk where you want her to come forward in line, you're basically asking her to walk into the space that the man once occupied. So how do we do that? How do we make it comfortable? Well, we use our contrabody knowledge. So to encourage me to walk forward, Sean first prepares my body by using the contrabody. So he invites my lumbar to rotate, and he also well, my lumbar is rotating counterclockwise, and is inviting my upper body to rotate clockwise. And that, because this is the way my body normally moves, this makes it easy for me to go, oh, okay, I can take a forward step. And I know that I'm not going to run anymore. With the other leg, it's the same thing. Okay? So he's going to rotate my lumbar. He knows this is the leg he wants to come forward. So this lumbar needs to rotate in a clockwise direction like this. For a contrabody to happen, the upper body goes counterclockwise. So we have this going on. This is a normal movement. So this is what he encourages my body to do to lead that forward step. So once you understand how this works, how you can invite your partner to move in a particular way, then you can see how easy it is to invite her to any step you want to take, whether it's forward, back, and side. In other words, without relying on that weight transfer. And that again is one of the most difficult things that people of all different levels have, is differentiating between the extension and the weight shift. And the better you are at being able to separate these two elements, then the easier it is, a lot of the more complicated steps actually are. Understanding how we can use contra-body movement in our partner communication is important not just for the man, but also for the woman. It's something I have used to, well, backlead some men, and so that I can have a comfortable dance myself, and so that he can dance more comfortably as well. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.